Hello and welcome to the dungeon. My name is Dan, and in today's video we're going to have an opinion piece. So if you've seen the name of this vid, then you know where this is going. Female Space Marines. Can they be a thing? And most importantly, should they be a thing? So just a bit of background. If anyone is familiar with Warhammer 40k, and I would imagine so if you're watching, then you know the most popular army ever are the Space Marines. Especially now since they've been given the Primaris Space Marines, which are bigger and stronger than regular Space Marines, but people like them, they like the power armor, very Doom-esque, very Halo-esque, just very cool in general. And all the Space Marines are men, as far as we know. There has never been a single occurrence of a female Space Marine, at least that I'm aware of. And I read quite a few of the novels, I play Space Marines from time to time. I have never seen a female Space Marine. Female Guardsmen, on the other hand, they have popped up a lot in the novels. And hopefully, one day, Games Workshop will do a miniature range of them. But a female Space Marine, as far as I'm aware, has never happened. So what's going on? Well, I've been watching a lot of... I've been reading a lot of Bell of Lost Souls articles talking about the need for female Space Marines. So let's get into it really. First of all, is there really a need for female Space Marines? In terms of lore, that is. Miniatures we'll get into maybe later. But why do we need to have female Space Marines? As far as my understanding goes, a lot of chapters have to be very specific when it comes to giving on the new organs to their aspirants. So I won't go through all the names of the different organs because they're very Latinate and my pronunciation is dire at the best of times, but you've got organs for things like additional stomachs which can endure poisons, you got an artificial lung, you've got the cis membrane so they can go into hibernation sleep. You've got the one where they can eat their enemy's flesh and take their memories. So all of these very important organs. And we all know Space Marines are very limited in terms of their numbers and their equipment. So they're going to give their prized resources to whichever aspirant they think is the best. And looking at the codex, all the aspirants have to be, it doesn't say men, it says young. They all have to be young, and the reason for this is so that if they were any older, then their body would be too mature to accept all the new implants and whatnot. So they're looking for, I don't know, maybe 15 to 20 range. Old enough to definitely be strong and prove yourself on the battlefield, but not too old that you just will say no to the second spleen. Okay, so they have to be young. In terms of, again, the age-old question of should there be female Space Marines? If you're going to recruiting people, do you want to be using your young men who are, fighty, wanting to prove themselves, maybe a little immature, or do you want to be using the ladies who aren't as strong, haven't had enough time to be as strong as their male counterparts, and most importantly, may want to give birth sometime in the future? Who would you rather select for Space Marine training? And bearing in mind, we've not even gotten to training yet. This is just a test to get someone from where they are as a human being to the potential of being a Space Marine. Who do you want to send off as being your best bet? I say go for the men. Stronger at that age, faster, really have a desire to prove themselves over other men. Not to say that some women don't have this, of course not, but chances are you're more likely to have those traits found in a man. So, for that reason, I would say it's very likely that most, if not all, of the people selected for the Space Marine training are dudes. Okay, and that brings me on to the next point. Within a Space Marine chapter, all the Space Marines are referred to as Battle Brothers. Furthermore, if you look at the history of the Space Marines, you know they were created by the Emperor, who in turn had 20/18 sons. It's still a bit dubious regarding those missing two. And sons. as in, a male child. All those sons, the Primax, they had their own Space Marines. There were some left behind by the Emperor, but I won't go into the nitty-gritty of the lore. Effectively, it's fathers and sons. It's very much a male-centric society, group, fraternity. I think that's probably the best word to use, fraternity. I don't see a woman's touch anywhere in that process. It is, quite simply, like a football league, or any sport you want. A football league just for men. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's okay to have certain areas. I want to use my words carefully because I don't want to come across as a raging sexist or gynophobe or anything like that. But there are certain areas where it's okay to have just one sex, male and female. Sports being a fantastic example of that. But it doesn't have to be sports, it can just be in other certain areas such as the military. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm all for women in the military, in the UK, in the US, wherever. But in this situation, in a mixed, the perfect comparison would be the Imperial Guard. Yes, I said Imperial Guard, not more bloody Latin. So there, I would say it's okay, because everyone's at a somewhat equal footing. Everyone has a very low chance of survival, they get the same equipment, and that is comparable to, I would say, our modern 21st century armies. But anyway, going back to my previous point regarding having separate areas for men and women, there's nothing wrong with that, not that I can tell. Has anyone seen the film The Descent? I watched it last night or the night before. Basically, it's a bunch of women who go down into the tunnels because they like caving or whatever. Well, I won't spoil it for you, but effectively there's some very pale mutant creatures hanging around, and the fight breaks out. And, well, it's an okay movie, it's a little dark. I mean physically dark, I can't really see what's going on because they're on the ground, of course. And the dynamic of the girls, or the ladies I should say, let's be a bit more respectful, you can definitely tell it's an all-lady group. If you were to introduce a man into that, it would definitely change it. And you can see this in real life, and the same applies for men as well. If you have all men, they're going to talk to each other in a way which they wouldn't do if there was a lady present in the group. Think stag nights or bachelor parties. But at the same time, think hen nights, think bachelorette parties. And there's nothing wrong with either. So the Space Marines are effectively one big bachelor pad, maybe? Probably not the best way of describing it. But effectively, it's men doing what they're doing, and I don't see any particular issue with that. But, you might say, but there needs to be more females in Warhammer 40k who are strong and powerful. I say to that, well, Sisters of Battle, they're pretty strong, they're pretty powerful, they have their Axe of Faith, they have their various equipment which regular guardsmen don't get. They've got some nice tanks. Yeah, they've got some cool stuff. They're basically the closest you'll get to Saints. They're cool. Let's have more of those miniatures. Hopefully one day, next year in fact, we may even get that. So Plastic Sisters would be great. As I've already said, I'm all for female Imperial Guards people. So there is, dare I say it, diversity in the miniature ranges. And as per the title of this email, no one really is asking for any male Sisters of Battle. It's cool that they have their own sorority of badass women who know how to cleanse the heretic and burn the witch. That's cool, let's have that. We also have assassins, which come in both sexes, as well as inquisitors. So there are plenty of powerful, strong women within the Imperium. And then there's all the Xenos. You know, I play Drukhari, plenty of women there. I play Tyranids, possibly women there? I don't know. Necrons, you know, they're all metal, but one of them could be a lady, or two. Tau, they've got ladies. You can't really tell because of the armor sometimes, but they're female, as far as a Tau can be. Not really a Tau biologist, so it's hard to say. And that brings me to another point. If they were to do female Space Marines, or even Primaris Space Marines, how would you really tell on the miniature? Now obviously there are certain things you can tell, particularly around the torso section. Would they be bareheaded, at which point the kits have a helmet, so why wouldn't they? Would they have a particular special type of helmet? I wouldn't have thought so. So if they have a helmet, why does it even matter? I mean, if you look at the new Stormcast Eternal miniatures, a few of them are ladies, but you can only really tell by looking at the faces. So you could even get your own Space Marines right now and just say they're women, maybe even put a female head on them. Right, and this brings me to my next question. If they were to make female Space Marines, who wants them, first of all, and who would buy them? If it was me, first of all I have too many armies as it is, so I wouldn't really be purchasing another one. But I already have one Space Marine army that already have the Salamanders. I'm also, in theory, working on a Blood Angels one, so I wouldn't really want to take on a brand new power armor army. And for those people who do want one, what can you do with a female Space Marine army that you can't already do? And there may be some rule changes, I wouldn't have thought so, but there may be some. But let's just say they're regular Space Marines in terms of their stats. What can you do with a female army that you can't do with, say, a regular Space Marine army? And you can take, like, third parties do female parts for miniatures. You can get these should you want them. But just saying they're all female, would that be sufficient? If they're all helmeted up, if they're all enclosed in their armor? Maybe female drivers in the Rhinos or Predators, is that sufficient? It just seems to me that there are a lot of things in pop culture where people are saying we need a female this and that. Take Doctor Who, take the Terminator series, take potentially Star Wars, potentially James Bond. And again, my earlier question is, why do we need this? If people like a character and think they're cool, it's probably not due to their sex. For example, Picard, very cool. Buffy, also quite cool. In different ways, of course. Ripley, very cool. Luke Skywalker, very cool as well. You see, these traits which make characters great is not really based on their sex at all, so why should it matter? Anyway, I think that might be it for this opinion piece. Let me know what you think in the comments if you wish. Next time I'll probably come back with another video game, a 40k classic, which I'm itching to talk to you all about. Anyway, that's it for me. I'll see you next time. Bye!